What's up, everybody? It's your boy T-Money from GroundRuleRadio.com, back once again with another Ground Rule Radio Live, which you can check out at GroundRuleRadio.com. Let's get to the hashtag off the bat. If you can't even see it, it's better tonight than last night. Hashtag Birds Overhaul. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at TimMoneyMiller. We're going to run the gauntlet tonight. This evening, we're going to discuss different topics. I have a hat. I said I would, and I followed through with the things I tell you. It is an Eagles hat. It's upside down because I don't want to lose the topics that are in there. But there are 12 pieces of paper. I did lie on that. I said there'd be 10. But there are 12 pieces of paper indeed with Eagles players and Eagles topics that I want to get to. Who's staying, who's going, what do you do here, what should we do with this position. 12 of them are in there. I'm going to run it through as quickly as possible. Before we get into that, though, want to send my congratulations and hope for the best out to Andy Reid, the head coach, former head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, has now agreed in principle to become the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. So best of luck to him out there. Andy Reid's Kansas City Chiefs will be visiting Lincoln Financial Field in 2013, so that makes for a very interesting matchup on the schedule coming up for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2013. A lot of the fans out there, I'm not the biggest Andy Reid supporter. If you watched the show last night, you understand my thoughts on Andy Reid leaving town and his history here with the Philadelphia Eagles. Take nothing away, he has been a great coach, and any fan who is warning the Kansas City Chiefs, warning them about what they're going to get out of Andy Reid, I think it's being taken a little too far because it is an upgrade for the Kansas City Chiefs getting a guy like Andy Reid to come in and coach their system. I think it's great. We'll see what happens with their first overall pick, getting a new quarterback more than likely, Jamal Charles. See what happens with the Kansas City Chiefs upgrading from Romeo Crennel. I was a fan of Romeo Crennel, but Andy Reid is definitely an upgrade on what they've had for the last few years, whether it was Crennel or Todd Haley, some of the other coaches that have traveled through Kansas City. Andy Reid definitely an upgrade there. Let's get into the players' gauntlet, the Eagles' gauntlet. Got 12 topics in here. Shake it up. Let's talk about all 12. I'm going to try to run through them 15 minutes or less because I'd like to put this up on YouTube as well to post on the website at groundruleradio.com. Makes it a little bit easier to use and view for you guys out there, because I know a lot of you have the iPhone, the iPad, and can't watch the Flash Player view stream. So being able to do it in 15 minutes or less, getting some great quality conversation going, allows for the YouTube to convert this video and able for you to watch it. The first thing that came out of the gauntlet is the number 4. Obviously, the number 4 is the draft pick that the Philadelphia Eagles have for the 2013 NFL Draft. Where do you go? And with so many question marks on this team going into 2013 and beyond, which is it's going to be a project for whichever head coach you bring in here, you got to take the best available player. Like I said, there are so many question marks on this roster. The only spots I would not take position-wise are running back and offensive line. I think every other position, and kicker, of course, but you're not going to take that with the number 4 pick. Every other position up for grabs. And we're still learning. We don't know a lot of the names that are declaring for the draft yet. Defensively, you need to get some talent. I think wide receiver-wise, you need to get some talent. And if there's a stud quarterback, which I don't think at 4 that's going to be a stud quarterback, I'm not sold on a lot of the quarterbacks in this draft, however, then I'm not against it. I want to build Nick Foles, but I'm not ultimately against getting a stud quarterback, but at the 4 pick, I don't see it. So I think you're going to get more than likely a defensive player, or, like I said, if you can get a stud wide receiver in here, that's what I would do with the number 4 pick. But we'll wait and see with who declares and who doesn't declare and who's going to be available, who the best quality player is. Andy Reid, you'd expect one of the tackles, a lineman on offensive, defensive side. So we'll see what they do with the 4 pick now. Now we have Jeremy Maclin. Jeremy Maclin was a guy, when he came out of Missouri, drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, was a player I thought, here is a guy who could be a possession receiver with some speed. It was like Keyshawn Johnson, with speed. Didn't work out that way. Very inconsistent, oft injured. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. This is a guy who is injured and still suits up and plays most of the time. But he hasn't been the consistent receiver we'd all hoped for. And when you look at the receiving core in general, you don't have that go-to big-time red zone receiver. You just don't have that big play guy. We have big play guys, excuse me. We don't have that big time receiver. A lot of people are like, we have the big play guy. We don't have that big time receiver. We were hoping it would be Macklin. It wasn't. And I'm not against letting him go in any way, shape, or form. He'll catch on with another team. But Macklin, with one more year left on his deal, I'm okay with whatever they plan on doing with him. I could take another year Macklin. I'm not kicking him out of town, but he's not exactly what we were hoping for, and hopefully we can get that guy in the near future. Offensive line. One of the two components on this roster that I'm actually pretty okay with. I think you're going to get Jason Peters back and you're going to be okay. You're still going to get Todd Herman's back. You're going to get Jason Kelsey back. Evan Mathis should have been a Pro Bowler this season. I think you're pretty set on that offensive line. Sure, you have that one spot that you're going to have to fill in the line. But really, it's not that bad. As bad as they looked with the Dallas Reynolds in there and some of those other King Dunlaps, so dreadful to even bring these names up. But you're going to get these guys back, which you have to be understanding that Peters was an all-pro player. Harriman's played as an all-pro player. Jason Kelsey was a Pro Bowl caliber player. You're going to get a good line back in 2013. It's going to be beneficial for this team, and it's something I really don't have many worries about. The health is the only main factor that I have with the Jason Peters. You're going to get Harriman's back, Kelsey back healthy. Peters later in his career. Let's see how healthy he is when he gets back, if he comes back, with the hopes that he does return to the Philadelphia Eagles roster. Howie Roseman. Interesting one. This number 4 pick, and ultimately the head coach he brings in, and some of the talent that he either lets go or brings in, this 2013 season is going to make or break. He's either good or he's a fraud. We'll find out in 2013 for Howie Roseman. This is his year. We'll see what he can do. And he's not as approachable, he's not as media friendly as a guy like Ruben Amaro or Adam Aaron of that nature, the Philadelphia 76ers, guy who's saying he's going to be more available in 2013. You need to be. You got to fix some things. I think getting some sort of connection with the fan base of the Philadelphia Eagles now that you're the guy making the personnel decisions, I think that's a huge move. 2013 ultimately is going to make or break Howie Roseman. We'll wait and see what happens with him. So I'm not 100% sold on him, but I am going to give him 2013. It's not like it's my decision to fire him anyway. Like, I'm going to give him 2013 and then I'll get rid of him. But as a fan, I'll give him 2013 to earn my respect and earn my trust ultimately as a fan in trying to fix the hole that this team is in now. The next topic in the gauntlet is the coach. And what kind of coach? Who's the coach I want to bring in here? You know, Chip Kelly looks like he's going to go with Cleveland. The thing I want to do with the coach is get a defensive-minded coach in here. Whether it's a Lovie Smith, Mike Nolan. There's a lot of names out there that I'm not against. Bruce Arians is a guy I like. Not totally defensive-minded, but I want to bring a defensive-minded coach in. And I'll tell you why. And it's not as easy and it's not as predictable as we got to fix this defense. Because we all know that it was horrendous watching. It was like watching the Blair Witch Project over and over and over again every Sunday when the defense was on the field. It was brutal. And it's something that definitely needs to be fixed. And defensive-minded coach certainly is going to come in, fix the system. The Y9 killed this team. And you had an offensive line coach dragging this team in the mud as the defensive coordinator. Todd Bowles comes in, he's got a mess going on. Washburn's still around, so we don't know what we got out of Todd Bowles. So bring in a defensive coordinator, kind of fix this thing. But on the other side of that, he will help the offensive side of the ball. And you accentuate the positives with a defensive-minded coach on offense. I know it sounds really weird, but follow me here. Defensive-minded coaches understand the idea of running the ball. And what is the greatest part of the Eagles roster going into 2013 at this point in time on January 4th, 2013? The running back position, the offensive line, the run game on offense. This is the most solidified position and style on this roster right now. Shady McCoy, Bryce Brown, and then that offensive line if they're healthy. They're your keepers on this team right now. There's very few, but those are your keepers. And a defensive minded coach will help solidify that running game when you have a top 3 running back when he's healthy and Shady McCoy. Let's make him a focal point of that offense. Well, I like that idea. Got a few more minutes left. Let's try to get through as many as we can. Nick Foles, quarterback. If he stays, I'm okay. If he's gone, I'm okay. It depends on the system and the coach that comes in here, whether Nick Foles gets the opportunity to still be molded into a starting quarterback in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll wait and see on that. It all depends on the head coach, whether Foles is going to be the quarterback for the future here for the Philadelphia Eagles. The running backs, I went over that. Shady McCoy, he's a must-keep. If there's one guy on this team you keep, it's Shady McCoy, in my opinion. Top 3 running back in the league. It's questionable, but when healthy, I can guarantee you with the right system, the right coach, the right coordinator, the right style, the right game plan, Shady McCoy is the top 3 running back in the league. Bryce Brown, I think you keep that two-headed monster. He's got some room to work on. Of course, he's got to work on holding onto the ball. There's going to be some interest in him, but I think you keep that two-headed monster. Not that I'm upset with Deion Lewis being a backup. If we can get a good deal for Bryce Brown, get some draft picks, kind of get this coach acclimated with the roster that he wants by getting some young kids in here, I'm okay with that as well, but you definitely keep Shady McCoy. Deshaun Jackson, again, just like Nick Foles, if he stays, I'm okay with it. If he goes, I'll be okay with it. There's a guy I didn't really want to re-sign. I wanted to get a Vincent Jackson type receiver who was great in Tampa this year. I wanted to get that guy, the big-time receiver, whether you go and get Dwayne Bowe this year, who's going to be on the free agency market to be that guy. I thought giving Deshaun Jackson, we understand what we're getting out of him. It's a big play, or he's really not going to give you that ultimate effort. And if he's not punt returning, is he really as valuable as his contract is right now? A little harsh, but I'm not a huge Deshaun Jackson guy. Trent Cole. Trent Cole has to stay on this team, I think, as well. Yes, he only had 3 sacks in 2012, but again, look at the mess that they were thrown into with Juan Castillo, the defensive coordinator, Jim Washburn running that horrendous wide 9 for some odd reason. Give him a shot. 3 years prior to that, he had double-digit sacks. He only had 3 this past year. Babin wasn't much better on the other side. And he can help mentor some of these young kids that are going to be on the defensive line to continue on. So I'm okay with Cole sticking around as well. Let's see here. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, again, he's a guy. We haven't got to my favorite one yet. DRC is a guy that, yeah, I think you hold on to just for the fact that you need to have decent cornerbacks. And I thought DRC at times showed peaks of being a good cornerback. He also showed times of being horrendous on the field. If you're playing the drinking game at home, I've had to mention the word horrendous with this team 10 to 20 times so far. But I keep DRC. You got to have that guy as a cornerback on the other side, on one of the sides covering a big-time receiver. And I'm okay keeping DRC because I don't know if you're going to get another guy, a quality of a DRC, free agency or in the draft. So I keep him around for a little bit. Michael Vick, pack your bags. You're out of here. That's all you need to say about that. My favorite, Nnamdi Asomugha. Nnamdi did everything but hold the Eagles at gunpoint and rob them for $32 million. Atrocious. Darrelle Revis-esque my ass. I'm sorry. Goodbye. If there's one player on this team that I'm releasing with no questions asked, it will be Nnamdi Asomugha. Bye-bye. All right, quickly, I got less than a minute to go here. Houston and Cincinnati in the wild card weekend games starting tomorrow, Saturday. I'm taking Cincinnati in the upset. I think they're hot. Their defense is good. They've had a decent running game here at the end of the season with Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. They got a top-tier receiver in A.J. Green. And for a second year in a row, the Cincinnati Bengals find themselves in the playoffs behind Andy Dalton at quarterback. So I'll take Cincy, Minnesota, Green Bay, in Green Bay, Lambeau Field. I'll take Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to lose back-to-back weeks to Minnesota. Let's see what ADP can do as well. Tomorrow we're going to discuss Seattle and Washington. We're going to discuss Indy at Baltimore. I'm going to do my picks. We'll also have a topic on hand. Interact Twitter at TimMoneyMiller. Check out the forums on GroundRuleRadio.com. Check that site out. Thank you for joining me, and that's the bottom line, because T Money said so.